memo, then we've
Yeah,
got technically we've got access, to do something nefarious. So, uh,
right,
even yeah, there's always tension between the staff and the Secret Service, and
right,
about this kind of thing, right? So,
right. Yeah, I saw it a little bit when I worked in the governor's office here in New York, and that's just the governor. It was before 9/11 and afterwards. But I definitely saw that when the state troopers, they didn't say no often, but when they did, it was a titanium no, and you weren't going to get around that. And it was always for a good reason. They would explain it. It wasn't just no for no's sake, because they had the attitude that you don't understand my view of it. You don't understand my view of the situation. This is why I said that, and then you don't make the same mistake again. So it was really it was interesting to see all of that back and forth between the political side and also the practical and tactical side as well.
absolutely, yeah, that's awesome that you had that experience at the governor's office. That was the next level. I always thought it would have been fun to, as a native Californian, I grew up in the Redwoods, but I always thought it would have been fun to have been around Sacramento with the Schwartz and
Oh yeah, yeah, I know. I know. It's so funny. Once people, especially when they campaign for governor, they say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then they get briefed on what the situation really is. they age about 5 years from the morning they walk into that conference room to the afternoon when they walk out.
right. And it
Um,
just escalates when, of course, you get to the presidency and the agency's giving you the presidential daily briefing, and you're reading this thing going, oh, and your eyes are watering, going, oh. That's
I
another interesting thing that happens actually, right? As soon as uh, can, candidates, when they reach a certain stage, are given a briefing, and then
mhm.
it's like, okay, you're not poking the bear on these subjects, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and then whoever wins that nomination starts getting briefings daily, right? So
Right.
different agencies are coming in and just giving this state of the nation, the state of the world, things like that, and they yeah, that I've actually seen I've seen the presidential daily briefing cover page. I I was I had a real urge to peek under the cover and thought, no, I like not being in prison. So
Right, exactly right. Yeah, you can get into trouble easily when you're dealing with those kinds of documents.
yeah.
When you, as you've been, you've lived your life. People, you talk to people, you tell them what you've done. I know when I've been, I was in government for 25 years. I worked for a railroad for 15, and I always had these people come out of the woodwork who were either really big political fans, and they'd say, "Oh, what do you think about what the president did with this, or why is the governor doing that?" And when I worked for the railroad, I had a lot of rail fans pop up and want to talk to me all about the kinds of engines and rolling equipment, rolling stock that we had. And I was always saying, I just want to talk about the Yankees and maybe some movies. I don't really want to delve into that stuff. Um, with you, I'm sure when people find out your background, they pop up invariably with their own Kennedy assassination theories. I was wondering if you could let us know what were some of the most oddball things to your professional mind that you've heard over the years.
Yeah, I try and steer away from those commercials because I mean, commercials, I'm sorry, from those conversations, because it's, they can get pretty interesting. Yeah, I've heard of like hosts of shooters, all the different angles, the different bullet theories, right?
Right.
Uh, like the grassy knoll is a great one, and uh, you know, between the mob and is it somebody that BB Rebozo, Nixon's friend, knew, and
Right.
of course Cubans and the agency, and it's like I smile and go, oh, it's possible, and I like try then go get a coffee or go get a drink if I'm at a party, it's like, let me have some more punch. Excuse me, I'm gonna go find somebody who's a little more sane. Because you would be on our list. You would have been in that Rolodex if you were saying this stuff back
Right.
in the day. Yeah, they vary from the multi-shooter to, you know, all kinds of explanations for the magic bullet, and you know, this recent revelation from the Secret Service agent about the bullet he placed on the gurney, right?
Right.
Yeah, that makes for just immense speculation. But unless you've got Peabody and a Wayback Machine, you know,
Yeah.
we're never going to know. I mean, the one that I like the most, which is the most sinister in a fun way, is that, you know, well, the truth is it's sort of a David Duchovny X-Files kind of thing. The truth is out there, but it's like the president's book of secrets. We'll never know, right? So
Right.
all of a sudden there's X-Files, there's Book of Secrets movie thrown in, and you know, but we're just not ready to learn, you know, because it was probably an alien. Uh,
Right. Yeah. It was a
it's
laser
like,
beam.
oh, come on, yeah. Anything's possible. I'm a very open-minded person. Thing. Anything's possible. That's not so likely. No.
Yeah, that one isn't likely. No, and the ones that interest me the most are the ones that said, "Oh, it was G. Gordon Liddy and I forget his name, E. something Hunt, were part of the shooters." And I said, you know, just because they were involved in Watergate doesn't mean they're involved in everything. And, you know, that kind of stuff, people have to have a more realistic view, I believe, when you're talking about something like this. And yeah, a lot has come out recently, and the way I look at it is, I think that there might have been some kind of a conspiracy that's small, but I don't think it was government wide. I don't think the head of the CIA was calling the shots, and I don't think the head of the mob in that area was calling the shots. I think it might have been some people who had the means and did it on their own, and employed a patsy to do it. But earlier, from what you said, I think you believe that it was Oswald who did it.
Well, I think certainly President Kennedy's death, we can attribute that to Oswald.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other shots, yeah, I'm with you. It would be more constrained, right? Every time you add another person to a conspiracy, right, your odds of getting found out or having leakage, as we call it, data leakage now, is, you know, exponentially higher. So,
Yep.
you know, that keeping it tight, then having you know, Oswald, you know, the whole idea when Oswald got killed, right, by Jack
Right.
Ruby, right, was that just a disturbed officer, you know, who was mad about the president's death, or was that also part of the conspiracy? Well, it's easy to make it part of the conspiracy, right? It's just a beautiful add-on that, okay, well, there's another guy who probably had cancer, was going to die anyway, got $1 million put in a bank in Switzerland for his family, and took the shot, you know.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Leaves a lot of good speculation, open-ended stories that people can make bad movies about, or, you know, can can write books over, you know.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. And it
by,
happens. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, by contrast, like when Reagan got shot, it was right outside. Unfortunately, this was another repetitive thing. The president always went out that door at the Sheraton
Mm,
to the waiting limo, and there was always people there. But then you've got Hinckley who takes a shot, but that was filmed. It was all, you know, right there contained. And luckily, Jerry Parr, who was the PPD lead, just threw him in the limo and said, "Let's go to George Washington," and save the president's life, actually. So,
right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of event that I'm sure everybody was able to learn from when it happened, who was
exactly.
involved in it. And then, you know, as you mentioned earlier, methods change. People learn from, unfortunately, past mistakes. And do you think that so the assassination of the president today is less likely given all of the precautions that we take, or do you think it's still in the realm of possibility?
I think it's percentage wise, it's less possible, but it is still, well, it's less likely to be successful, but it is still possible.
Right.
There
Yeah.
is, and you know, anytime somebody comes out into the sunshine, right? You know, it's much harder when you've got people like myself doing everything from scanning walls for eavesdropping devices to looking for and using bomb dogs and other technology to unless you can somehow drop the whole building, but that's not
Right.
likely to happen a location versus getting sunshine, right? Because even
Right.
that advanced team is even, there's another agent, we didn't mention this, but there's another agent who's taking care of the airspace, closing off the airspace and/or, okay, are there police helicopters? And nowadays, police helicopters with mobile snipers in them, different things
Hmm.
like that, who can get not only with the camera technology now, but overlooking a location and/or the crowd with agents on the other end looking for indicators of somebody who's agitated or, you know, whatever. So it is
Right.
less likely, but it's still possible.
Yep.
There are plenty of systems and other things like that that could be employed to even stand off, right? We do it,
Right.
you know, being a Houthi rebel and driving in a car is not safe. So that, you know, there's technology, right?
You're right. And there's also the human intelligence too aspect of it as well. You know, they're monitoring a lot of people's activities once you are on that list. And I'm sure after writing something like this, I'm probably on the list too, but I don't have anything to worry about because I'm not,
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
my stuff is in fiction.
Exactly. That's that great joke about us writers is like, don't look at our browser history. We're just writing a book.
it's it is interesting. I'll tell you, it takes you down a lot of different places. Well,
Yeah.
Steve, I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, and I really appreciate it. I think our subscribers have gotten a wealth of information based on your experience.
Well, thank you very much. And now that we're done recording this, I'm going to move location.